On October 17, 2007, I was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa. With just one judgment, one moment, my life was completely shattered. I remember sitting in the doctor's office when I first heard the news, just glaring at my dad as if this was his fault, his problem, his choice, that I was now cornered in this room, utterly undone by this word, this disease, this thing. But he didn't even look at me. He just stared right through me. For months, I denied my diagnosis. I soon learned that my vital signs were critically substandard. My bone density had shrunken to the point of osteopenia, and my levels of estrogen had plummeted so drastically that I had lost my ability to menstruate. Yet, I fiercely continued to defy the doctors and tell myself that this challenge was not mine. It was another girl who was brave enough to share her story with me, who showed me that I needed to face this challenge and that I needed to change my perspective. Her name was Rena. Rena was a writer and a spoken word artist, an entrepreneur and a creator. Most importantly, she was a thriver. She had suffered emotional abuse and molestation, abandonment and violence in her family. Yet she had learned to heal herself by realizing and concluding that her challenges were her strengths and that her flaws were simply vessels for her potential. Rena opened my eyes to the realization that thousands of girls around the world were suffering from disorders such as mine simply because they did not have the self-worth and mutual respect to appreciate all humanity's unique gifts and work together to demand and to create a more accepting world. So I made it my mission to build a sisterhood of change makers that would empower all girls to assert their voices and embrace their collective capacity for change. Just so, a new vision and organization was born, one that in just 3 years has mobilized and united thousands of girls from around the world for a single purpose: peace. You know, Jacqueline Novogratz shared in an earlier TED Talk and in her book that compassion is simply not enough. We need to bring tangible skills and local knowledge to the table in order to make a sustainable impact. And I fully agree with her. But when I think back to what I had to offer 3 years ago at age 15, I realized that it was simply and only compassion. I and the 3 friends I recruited to work with me had absolutely no idea what we were doing. We needed to build a website, but we had never dabbled with HTML or Java. We needed to start a corporate bank account, but we didn't even know how to manage our own. Yet, we had an idea worth spreading, so simple that we made it the name of our organization, Girls Helping Girls. And we launched our first chapter in India, then Ghana, then Nigeria. Then almost surreally, we started receiving emails and phone calls from girls in other countries like Turkey and Bangladesh, girls just itching to change realities, but who simply didn't know how. And like a viral message, our mission spread and spread and spread until it became a global movement, unrestrained by a single director, but burgeoning with a mind of its own. Today, our small team of just girls has trained and mobilized over 30,000 young women to create innovative and substantive social change. With no hired advisors and not even any full-time staff, we have provided girls in more than 20 countries with the one-on-one mentorship, toolkits, funding, and support network to build their own micro-enterprises and create sustainable development initiatives in their communities. What we learned is that there are no quick-fix solutions for girls' empowerment. I remember us watching an advertisement several months ago that suggested giving a sanitary pad to a girl in the developing world would change her life forever. The pad would be her ticket to a bright future and a better education, a happily ever after. Giddy with this idea, we decided to collect stockpiles. We started calling all our teams across the US and collecting tons and tons of sanitary pads and toiletries to distribute to our sites abroad. And we were so excited that we were totally unexpecting a letter that we received from one of our girl leaders in Uganda, Josephine. She bluntly stated that You know, it's really kind of you to be shipping us all these boxes of sanitary pads, but what we really need is a cultural shift. We need to heal fear, grow tolerance, not give women simply another veil to mask their shame, another excuse not to talk about this new stage of womanhood. And as we were thinking about this, we realized that in trying to empower these girls, we were actually perversely just entrenching them further in their isolation from society by localizing the politics of education to a woman's body. Instead of examining the larger structural forces in play, we were foisting the burden of this problem on the woman. Now, I'm still trying to figure out how to remedy this approach, and I don't have all the answers, but what I can say is that I think it is always important to try to foster dialogue from the girl's perspective, because sometimes simply building a safe space in which girls can together debate and innovate solutions is the best gift we can offer. This point was driven home to me several months ago when my team and I arranged a joint activity between 3 teams of girls, one from an elite prep school in the US, one from an all-girls school in India, and another from a village in Ghana. And we asked all 3 teams, all comprised of girls aged 12 to 16, to tell us and share with us how they would respond to a particular scenario. There's a woman who's carrying a heavy pile of wood on her back, and a man is following her carrying nothing. Now, of course, the team in the US responds, this is a blatant violation of women's rights, and the man should not coerce the woman to carry wood if she does not want to. The team in Ghana responded that, you know, it's the woman's role to carry wood, and she is simply acting according to her community's code of conduct. The team in India responded that this scene showed women to be the community leaders, hardworking and strong, and that it was the man's place to follow behind her and assist her if she needed. Now, you know, needless to say, all of us, my team as well as the girls themselves, were quite surprised by the diversity of responses. But instead of causing confusion, this activity sparked a dialogue in which all 3 teams talked about what it meant to be a woman. And not only that, it led them to collaborate on a global project in which they hosted jointly during the same weekend forums on this topic that are now changing the way women and girls are perceived in their communities. And all of this started from a single conversation, a simple exchange. These girls proved to me that when girls think about and reach out to one another, they can empower one another to discover even their most hidden assumptions and dreams, and then act to fulfill and share them with others. In thinking back actually to my own journey to this stage, I am recalled to words that Rena shared with me 3 years back. She said, Sejal, when you are a part of a sisterhood that loves you, that only wants to see you soar, it is absolutely impossible to fail. So this is my dream, to grow this sisterhood for all girls, so that all girls can be enabled to empower each other's stories the way they have empowered mine. For there is a special magic that is created when a girl who has been blinded to her own potential learns to open her eyes and discover in her own soul the living, breathing, pulsing dreams of another. For this is the secret of Girls Helping Girls. It is a simple idea, but one that can change the landscape of social change forever. Thank you.